about this going on, so I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, it just shut down again. So did all of you guys get kicked out and rejoin? Is that what just happened? Okay, I got kicked out as well. I don't know what is going on.
Yeah, I'm here, Jackie. Yeah,
sorry guys.
You know, what is the question? Do you have something on this? Where are you linked? That might be something from that. Where are you linked in, Lana? They've got some weird stuff going on.
I'm at my house in Park Hill.
Let me do a little bit. I'll do a little bit of checking on that for future stuff so that we can make sure we stay.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a Comcast or Xfinity thing that's happening, or if it's a Zoom. Yeah, I know they. I know it says keep saying meeting ended by host. I can assure you, I'm not doing that. It's kicking me out too. I don't know what's happening.
So hey, Lana, let's do this. I don't know what's going on tonight. Why don't we? Are there critical things that you can mention right now, and then we'll get back to the non-critical things. Let's do that. And then if it ends,
then we're done.
I think we're done. But we'll get to the critical things. And for you new board members, I apologize. I don't know. We don't know what's going on. We'll figure it out. Thanks, Les. So
sorry,
hold
guys,
on.
this has not happened before. Let me just.
Have you got, get two co-hosts? Maybe there's a link, in other words, is somebody else a co-host?
Yeah, let's see. Let's try it. Let's try it. Maybe it won't kick us out if multiple people are. Tracy, where are you?
Okay, got it.
Add you as a co-host. Maybe I'm just gonna make you the host, actually. Maybe in case it is something on my end. I switched it over to you, so I don't have the power to shut the meeting down anymore in case it's a glitch on my end. So I'll finish quickly here. Garden calendars, I think y'all got that. Thanksgiving giveaway, we're just ramping up for our program. If you go to our website under food programs and Thanksgiving giveaway, there's a list there of items that we need donated. It's 5 specific items. We were able to order everything else from Food Bank of the Rockies. So if you'd prefer to donate funds, that is really helpful for us. Otherwise, there are 5 specific things that we need donated. So if you're going to go shopping for us, we appreciate that. Again, check the website. We're going to keep updated counts and a list of everything that we need there. Let's see. I can't remember what else I had on my thing. We don't have a meeting in December. So unmark your calendars for that. I'm going to look through my slides really quick. Thanksgiving, food pantry, That's kind of about it. I don't need to go into much more detail than that. I'll keep it short.
Okay, and I know D2's not here. What was next on our agenda?
That was basically it. Open floor, and then if the only thing we have for the board is approving meeting minutes and the board officers.
So it looks like we have 12. I think we need 15. And Jackie, I see your hand, so go ahead.
Mine was just to say that because I want to be sure that everybody knows that we are again doing the alley cleanup. Okay, so remember that will be every single weekend before we do large trash pickup, which will be a good reminder. But if y'all could just put that in your calendar, and please, when we do it again, I want to try to keep getting pictures of things. And so anyway, I just wanted to remind everybody that's happening. It is the Saturday or the weekend before Thanksgiving week. Obviously Thursday, there's no large trash pickup. That goes to Friday for people in the neighborhood, because y'all know we have 4 days of pickup. Okay.
Perfect. And so I think, Jackie, thank you. And I need to touch base with you about all of that and start working on a few project areas. So I appreciate all of your work on that, you and John. So thank you very much. Lana, go ahead.
I just thought of something. Amy and Shane both attended the meetings that we had at Long Table in October to look at their patio expansion. And I know they wanted to report back to everyone at this meeting.
Yeah, if we have, if we have a minute here, I just wanted to do real quick. The meeting was really interesting. We met up with the neighbors who would be directly impacted by the patio expansion, who live directly behind Long Table, as well as there were some other neighbors who showed up at the couple of different meetings as well. And just quickly, really the biggest takeaway for me, and I'll just be honest, at first when this idea of Long Table expanding their patio, my initial response was great. I love Long Table and I love their patio. So that sounds good to me. But when you look at the situation it would put the neighbors in, it is kind of tricky. So one of the issues is that because there was the park swap, which I'm not going to talk anymore about, but because there was the park swap, now there's going to be a big building that's going to go in right next to Long Table. And the shadow from that building is going to impact the patio in the wintertime, or at least this is what the owner is really concerned about, is that it'll really impact his patio space. So that's one of the driving factors for him wanting to expand behind Long Table. However, it's we were invited into the backyard of the neighbors, Jessica and Keith, I think were their names, right? And it is really, really close. And the only way I can really feasibly see that it would work, and the only way that the neighbors would be okay with the patio expansion, is if you could put in a big brick concrete wall, or, you know, big block wall that's like 8 or 9 feet, enough to actually cut off the view plane, because there's kind of a weird dip situation that happens when you stand in the backyard of the neighbors. You can see right into the Long Table patio and vice versa. So that's kind of the issue. However, the city is saying that wall cannot be any more than 6 feet. So Steve, the owner, is willing to do a block wall, but it could only be 6 feet. And according to the neighbors, that's just really basically not good enough to protect their privacy and to protect their property and the enjoyment of their property. So it's kind of this tricky situation. And I think what it really comes down to, this is all just my perception, by the way, it's just one person reporting back, but the way I kind of see it is, if there was a way that we could get the city to allow an 8-foot block wall, that would be okay with the neighbors. You know, that would work for Steve. He would be willing to front that cost, but apparently the city is like really dug in on not allowing that variance to happen. So it's one of these things where I just personally feel like unless everyone could be on board with it, I don't know how comfortable I would be in supporting the patio expansion, because of the impact it has on the neighbors. And because they are supposed to have this setback, and the purpose of the setback is to ensure that privacy, and there's just kind of a lot of issues that go into it. So it's, you know, there's no urgent action I don't think that we need to take right now, but it was very helpful to actually physically see it, you know, because like I said, at first I was like, yeah, expand it all you want, I don't care. But when I actually went there and talked to the neighbors and saw the situation, it's when I thought, ooh, actually, maybe I need to kind of walk that position back, because this isn't going to be a good deal for them. So that's just initial thoughts. I'm happy to answer any questions anyone has. And Shane, if there's anything you'd like to contribute, because you were the other person who went to a different meeting, I'm sure everyone would love to hear from you too.
No, I agree with what you said pretty much. If you stand on their back porch, you really can see where, especially where the new patio is going to be. It's going to be quite intrusive for Jess, and he wasn't there, so I always forget his name when I was there. So I kind of agree with what you said. It's going to be we're going to have to think long and hard about this one. I don't have anything more to add. I agree with what Amy has said about this. That's kind of where I came from it too.
I could say real informally, I went over because I knew I couldn't make the 2 meetings that we set up. So I went over and just kind of, they happened to be out front. Okay. So we chatted a little bit, and I just went around to the alley. I'm agreeing with you guys on this. I think everybody, just when you have such chance, just kind of go by and see anytime they're open, and just kind of note, and then kind of go look. And as I said, I'm peeking over your fence. They were laughing. I'm going to go around, peek over your fence. But just kind of it just feels like, man, I'd be bummed if I were them and that happened. If I were the family, you know, and yet I understand, I love Long Tables and I want them to do well. So it's tough.
Go ahead, Leslie, do it.
Hey, so what I believe I heard was that there is a compromise on the table that if the city will allow Long Table to build an 8-foot wall, the neighbors would be happy and Long Table is willing to do it. So I want to suggest that we put a motion on the table that we recommend and maybe write a letter to both the mayor's office, Ashley Kilroy at Excise and Licenses, and whomever else is related, that we support this compromise, because the difference between a 6-foot and 8-foot wall seems relatively compromisable. And so I want to just get anyone's feedback. If I put that motion on the table, if anyone's willing to consider writing that recommendation to both the mayor and Herndon's office and Kilroy and whomever else might be involved.
Do we know what the reason is that the city regs don't allow more than a 6-foot wall? That's number one. Question is basically why. And number two, I see that Chris Cunningham is on the call, and I don't know if Chris, if you want to pipe in or not.
I'm happy to. I wanted to make sure that y'all had an opportunity to play out what you saw there and make sure all those voices were heard. I didn't want to try to step on that, but yeah, we're very amenable to putting in a taller wall, and that in fact that's what we originally led with, was an 8, or if we were to try to match the existing wall, it would be 9 feet. And if the board was willing to support us in that way of recommending a taller wall, I mean, it's considerably more expensive. We're happy to do it. I think it probably makes us better neighbors if we're able to do that. The city has reported that that's kind of a non-starter for them. When I say city, I mean it's in the planning department when they do the plan reviews. That's far more difficult than getting a zoning variance from their perspective. That being said, I know that there's all sorts of ways to navigate through the city, and perhaps maybe having the ear of the mayor's office and Mr. Herndon, that may help the matter. So either way, I appreciate everyone taking the time to come out and see what we're trying to do.
What's the reason that the city doesn't want an 8-foot wall?
I mean, really, it's visual obfuscation. It's one of those constant issues associated with building fences anywhere. It's just inconsistent with most of the sort of open sight line desires for most neighbors, and so it's I know I've tried to get a waiver for a taller fence when I lived next to a very busy road, and was never able to get a waiver for that either. So if anyone else has experience with this, I mean, I know I heard that same thing echoed when we talked about building a taller fence. So
Well, and I believe that the fence around the former XL substation was taller than 8 feet. So wouldn't that be kind of a historical precedent that might adjust their consideration? I would hope so. It's taller.
Yeah,
than 8 feet.
it is. Yeah, it's actually, and our original intent was to just try to match it for that purpose. The idea that there's some sort of historical precedence. But that was really, that sort of fell on totally deaf ears.
Okay, so
yeah.
it's my first meeting as a board member, but can I make a motion that the board consider writing a letter of recommendation to support a fence that it seems that the neighbor and the business owner have agreed upon to build, so that we have a compromise? Is anyone willing to second that motion?
I'll second it.
So it looks like we have Maria and Nam second, but let me just add discussion to this. So do we have, Lana, I don't know, are the neighbors open to that 8-foot fence?
I attended both meetings, and I don't know if I can give a completely definitive answer to that, but it did sound like that was their biggest concern, and they did feel like having the taller it's not even just a fence, it's like a concrete block wall that was the one big thing that they felt would really help. Again, because of the sight lines, and also because of the noise. But I don't know, Amy or Shane, if you necessarily heard them sort of definitively say that they would, fully back it if that was in place. I'm just not entirely sure.
Well,
I asked Jessica directly, and her answer was like that. So,
Yeah.
That's why I would support the motion if I had absolute assurance that the neighbors were like, absolutely, but I would just want to check with them real quick. So I would almost say maybe table the motion until we're able to make sure that, okay, if we're going to support this as the GPHC, and we've also got Long Table on board, are you guys on board too, just to make absolutely sure? So that would be my only hesitation in voting right now.
I think I put them on the spot with that exact question, or the husband or one of the two residents at our last meeting when we talked about this. And I think what he essentially said was, we prefer nothing happen. If something has to happen, we want a bigger wall. But like, I think they still don't want any of this to happen, right? Like, that's their fundamental position. Again, that's what he articulated in the last meeting is, we'd rather it be taller, but we'd rather nothing, like that, none of this happen. So, I think that's certainly we can clarify them with them. I'm happy to still second the motion. I proposed that motion the last time we talked about this because again, I think that is the sort of compromise position. But, again,
my conversation with them at the second meeting was more or less, I could see us supporting this, but only if it creates a net benefit for you guys. So they're already experiencing a lot more like sound issues and stuff from the park being across the way, and just all of the new commotion on the block. So it was like, well, if Long Table doing this then gives you this better barrier that improves even upon the current situation that you're in, then is that amenable to you? And it was kind of like, oh, well, I hadn't really considered that, maybe them doing something could actually improve us from status quo. So I think for them, that's about what it would take, is it needs to be better than it is now.
Can I ask, there's something, my brain is going on this again. I can't remember if it was my discussion directly with them or in the last meeting, that when some of the buildings went up across 28th, it's some of the light from one of the neon signs actually comes into their backyard now. I kind of remember this. Does anybody remember this? So that so that the wall might actually help. Does that make sense, everybody?
Yeah, so, and that was the conversation I had, was
okay.
This could potentially be an improvement upon the status quo for you. So I know Chris has run some sound noise calculations, and they ran them on an 8-foot wall. And it's Long Table's position that it would help, just with the ambient noise and light, I think probably from the block, but I don't know.
So this is what I think, Leslie, I hear what you're saying. I do think it's very important that we can continue to get community engagement. So Shane, there are enough people here to vote you in tonight. What I would propose is, I know it's before Thanksgiving, and Lana, I know we have a lot of work to do with the food pantry. So, but I think the board can meet separately. If we could just talk to a few of those neighbors to say, look, can we go ahead and move forward? Would you be okay if we sent a letter of an 8-foot fence in support, just to cover all our bases? I know it's a little additional work, but I'd rather just do a little more work than have people willing to throw us under the bus. And I would like to, at the same time, be in good conscious support Chris and Long Table and get the right thing that they need for everyone. And I think we can do that here.
I agree with you, Tracy. I think the position, I'll just say really quick, of the other neighbors that attended was they're not really as affected, and their sort of default position is whatever works for Jessica and Keith, who are the ones immediately behind. They're behind their neighbors. So they all love Long Table. They all say Long Table is a good neighbor, but ultimately they want to support their residential neighbor. So those are really the people that we need to confer with.
Okay, so Lana, I am behind, hold on, Jackie, I am behind a meeting with both of them. So I'm wondering, Shane, if you and me, would you have some time, we set up a meeting with Jessica and Keith and just have just kind of a coffee talk with them and see if we can't get them to support this 8-foot fence?
Yeah, I'm open for a meeting like that.
Okay.
So you're busier than I am, so let me know sometimes.
Okay, and they may still not be completely willing, but I'd rather get somewhere in the middle versus a no. And Leslie, we will then call a special board meeting, get this approved and get a letter sent in support of that. Because I do support keeping them as a good business. Chris, you've been awesome. And I also want to make sure that the neighbors immediately affected are not affected by the noise and any light. And if we can reduce that and make it a really good thing for everybody, I say, let's figure out a way to do it.
I agree with that totally, Tracy. I also think that I just want to say that Nam's pretty much right. Because I asked Jessica too, if the fence would help, and she said she'd rather not have anything done, but if it's going to have to be done, and she's a realist, she said that it easily might do that. She'd rather have the next best option is the fence then.
Yeah, and Nam, my apologies. I'm more than willing to have you part of that conversation. And I've got 2 hands up. Jackie, you've been up for a bit, and then we're going to come back over to Nam.
Yeah, my only thing is that point of order, we have a motion on the table to go ahead and do this. So either we have to table this right now, or Leslie can withdraw her motion and the seconds are withdrawn.
Okay, Leslie is withdrawing.
I lassoed in and I withdraw it. Thank you, Jackie.
Okay, and Leslie, you're okay if we meet, we will keep everybody on the loop. And Leslie, I'm happy to have you also part of those conversations.
Thanks. I think that, I mean, one of the issues is we have a bunch of people here interpreting the neighbors' views. If we could get the neighbors to just give a statement so we could all decide, that would be fantastic.
Yep.
But it sounds like there is room for compromise, and I would love to have a compromise because Long Table is fantastic. And there is a historic brick or whatever you call it, not ceramic, but there's a big fence there historically. So I think the precedent is there. Sounds like the neighbors are amenable, but I'm not sure because I'm hearing just their interpreted opinions. So thank you. And I lasso back my motion. Thank you.
Okay. And we will call a special board meeting to get this hopefully resolved maybe before the first big holiday.
Yeah, for Long Table, so that we can have a good holiday party. Park Hill, all of us. I'll buy the first round.
Deal. And Chris, I've been threatening you. We're going to have a board meeting there anyhow. So Nam, your hand's been up. Please go ahead.
Thanks. Sorry. I was just going to point out that, and I'm happy to meet or, attend a special meeting if we want to have a vote. But I think at least my understanding from both the presentation at the last meeting and some conversations with Chris is that this isn't super time pressing because they haven't even started the official permitting process through the city. So like the official process hasn't started. So I don't know how time sensitive us getting an official, letter or decision from our board is, but, certainly happy to meet this month if that's what we decide makes the most sense.
Okay. Agreed. All right. Chris, we will get back with you.
Very good. Tracy, I really appreciate everyone's time for sure. And if anyone has any questions, feel free to reach out to me directly.
Yeah. Thank you, Chris. You've always been willing to show up and we really appreciate that.
I appreciate that.
What's up, Lana?
Did I raise my hand?
No, I was just like, what's next?
Oh,
I'm sorry.
We can vote on, I believe the September minutes were sent out.
Yep, we have enough. We can do that.
I don't know if there's enough people that are,
hold
yeah,
on,
we have
one-
enough. There's gonna be some abstentions because some people were not on the board at that time, I don't think, but
I think we have enough to go forward. I realize
Let
that,
me count again really quick,
okay.
because we lost a few people. 2, 3, 4,
Hey,
5.
Lana, can I just mention one thing while you're doing that?
Sure.
I just wanted to point out that in one of the emails you sent a link to the affordability new standards that the city's coming out with. These are good standards. I have some concerns with them, but they're more of unintended consequences. But I would encourage those because they're getting pushback from this. They're getting pushback from the developers already. And even though it's very much in line with the peer cities, they're getting a lot of pushback for the increased linkage fees. I would encourage those of you that feel strongly about affordable housing to reach out to your council person and your at-larges and tell them that this needs to go ahead, because the developers have already appeared on all 3 of the major network morning shows talking about how this is going to hurt affordable housing. That's all I have. I'm on the task force. I'll let you know. We're having a meeting soon if anything else develops.
Yeah, Tracy, you're right. We do. Thanks, Shane. Yeah, that went out in one of the e-blasts. It was a link. You can go and look at the proposals online and give feedback to host if you want. Yeah, and Tracy, you're right. It is 13 now.
Okay, perfect. What was next on our agenda, Lana?
If someone wants to motion on approving the September minutes and also just the board officers confirmation election, whatever we call it.
Yep, let's do 2 motions. I make a motion to approve the September minutes. My second motion is to approve the new officers, which would be Shane Sutherland as chair, Heather Shockey as treasurer, Bernadette Kelly as the secretary. Is there a second?
I second.
Amy seconds both.
Yes, I
Okay,
second
so-
the September meeting. I was there, just making sure. I was like, what did we do at that meeting? And now I remember. Yes, I approve, or I second all of those officers as well.
Great. And I saw Ken, you raised your hand, so that's great. Jackie, yes. Okay, so all in favor of, I'm going to just take all in favor of both motions. If you don't agree with both motions, just tell me no and I'll call them individually.
Can I ask one quick point? Can I
Of
ask,
course.
don't you have a chair-elect?
Not right now.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that
So-
comes up. Okay.
We'll come back to that.
I
So
think-
yes, I'm raising my hand. Heather has her hand up.
Okay, keep them up, please, so that Bernadette and I can attempt to record this accurately, which is always a challenge on a screen.
Leslie, I don't see your hand, which if you don't want it raised, that's okay. We'll come back to your call.
Give me a second.
I'm purposely abstaining because I was not on last month's meeting, so I
Okay.
could not comment on the minutes or anything regarding that.
Okay, thank you, Leslie.
Okay, so I have Shanta, Shane, Nam, Maria, Brenda, Jackie, Amy, Ken, Tracy, Melissa, Rick. If you are in favor and I did not call your name, please say something so we can hear you. Okay, then that will be the ayes. 11 ayes. And
Heather's here. She's listening in the background. She is a yes.
okay, 12. And any nays?
No nays, but 1 abstention on the minutes.
One
Leslie,
abstention from
Correct.
Leslie.
Leslie
Okay,
abstains on the minutes. Correct. Thank you.
Right.
okay.
right, but I
Um,
do want to call on the officers.
That would be a yay.
Okay, I am, okay. So if you're all a yay on the officers, please raise your hands.
Oh, we're doing 2 separate.
Yeah, it just because
Sorry.
Leslie's
Okay, hold
right
on.
on that call.
Pause.
so I-
Pause on the first. So that was just the vote for the September minutes. And I don't have anything marked for Bernadette or Phoebe. Phoebe, are
Well,
you abstaining? Is she still
They're
here?
not, They're not on here.
Bernadette said in the chat that she approves of the
Yeah.
minutes.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
But yeah, did Phoebe get kicked off again? Dang.
She did.
Hmm.
Something weird is going on tonight. I've had weird internet issues all day.
Yeah,
so
people are in and out. It's very strange.
yeah.
Okay, Bernadette, I see you in the chat. Sorry. Okay, so now we're voting on to confirm board officers. Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm caught up now. Go ahead.
So Shane, Bernadette, Heather.
Shane, Bernadette, Heather, we have Nam, Jackie, Amy.
I'm sorry, you guys. I have a lot of background noise. I didn't hear that. What are
Oh,
Shanta,
voting
we're
on?
approving the current officers, which will be Shane as chair, Heather as treasurer,
Okay.
and Bernadette as secretary.
okay? Thank you.
Rick, Melissa, Maria, Ken. I don't see anyone else's hand. So Brenda, gotcha. Tracy, gotcha.
Bernadette's-
Leslie, where are you? Leslie, did you say?
Bernadette's a yes in the chat.
I got
Heather is a
her.
yes.
I got everyone except Leslie on this one.
Okay,
Hmm.
Leslie,
On the board
Oh, board
members, I'm a
officers.
yes, not
Okay.
the minutes. That's
just
all.
the officers,
it.
Les.
Okay.
Just the officers. Sorry.
Okay, that's
I'm
a
keeping track.
unanimous. That's a unanimous yes on the officers.
Okay. Kara,
Unless I
Yes.
screwed something up.
Kara,
Yes.
are you laughing? Can we add anything from you to get or
Just, I wish I had some of that pizza.
Leslie, I'm going to leave it to you to communicate with Dagat. That's all up between you two.
I'm eating it all.
All right. That's the entire agenda.
That's the entire agenda. Open floor, any comments? Leslie, put your hand down tonight. Go ahead.
Thank you. I don't know what happened last month. I was not on the call, but apparently I was elected to the at-large position, and I wanted to say thank you to whomever voted for me. I'm not sure who you are, and I'm not sure how that came about, but thank you. And I hope I haven't annoyed you already tonight. But I do want to bring up that we have redistricting going on with City Council. And we all need to be watching over the next few weeks and responding on the redistricting at denvergov.org. They've had very, very few citizens responding at all. And I think only 2 from North Park Hill. So it's really important because you might find yourself redistricted to District 9, which maybe you want that. You might be in District 8, we don't know. Or some of us might be back in District 5.
Yeah.
So please speak up on what community means to you and where you want to be. It is incredibly important. Over the next few weeks, you will hear probably close to nothing from the City Council office and from the city. But believe me, there's a lot going on. So please speak up anyway, even though they're not asking for your opinion right this second. Please give it anyway. And so thank you again. I'm sorry I've taken up this much of the floor.
You bet. So Leslie or anybody on this call, Nam had asked a question, what's happening with the possibility of reducing number of council folks at large, I think. So
That's off deck, Nam.
okay.
So for the next redistricting, it sounds like there will still be 2 at-large candidates. But the population of Denver has moved significantly northeast towards Green Valley Ranch. So we might find that Park Hill or parts of Park Hill might find themselves in D5 or D9 or question mark. Over.
yeah. I want to second, somebody put in there, Shanta asked, yeah, what's the link to be able to give input? Could you put that
Oh,
for us?
Yes, but also if you go to denvergov.org and put in the search engine, just redistricting.
Okay.
Looks like
That'll
Amy
get-
just popped it in there.
Oh, there it
Amy,
is.
thanks. Yeah.
It's
Let's-
kind of a big deal.
Let's get that out to people.
Thank you. Thank you, Jackie. Nice to see you too, hon.
Okay, she's absolutely right. And to change subjects, I've just got a couple announcements. I have to get on my Martin Luther King Parade call, okay, which is to tell you that yes, we are having the parade this year. Yay! So yeah, we're excited. First, and then the other thing too is just to remind you that 2 kinds of walks are happening. I don't know if y'all saw, but in the last one that Walk to Connect is doing their Tuesday mornings again from Holly. And the second one is that Denver Health is bringing Walk with a Doc to Hiawatha Davis and the Skyline Park area. So, and that was at my really encouraging because I'd love to see that. So, and I would like to see GPHC definitely push people doing those kind of things. So that's that 8 a.m. on Saturday, the 13th is the initial one. And Grace Alfonsi, who's one of the docs out there, she's going to lead that part. So that should be cool. And it'll be a monthly thing. It's not just something we do every now and then, but I think correct me if I'm wrong, Kara, are the Tuesday morning walks every Tuesday or once a month? I can't remember. Anybody else know? I read it.
This is Kara. I believe that they are every Tuesday. They are in the information is in the resources section of the newspaper with all of the details of what time they start and where they start. Thanks for the heads up on the Walk with the Doc coming, Jackie. That'll be really helpful to also get into the paper.
Yeah, and the parade too, put it on your calendar. It's always that Monday, whatever's closest. I can't remember what the date is. I apologize. I have to get off because this is our first meeting. Okay. Later, guys.
Yep. Thanks, Jackie. And just a reminder to everyone, Park Hill United Methodist does the ringing of the bells every Monday at noon for Black Lives Matter. We would love to see bell ringers out there. If you have a day off from work or something or can volunteer sometime, please consider doing that. Leslie.
What time is that?
It's at noon. Sorry, it's at noon.
That's okay. One more thing. I've been asked to be on the renaming committee of the Johnson and Wales campus, the former Johnson and Wales campus. So if any of you have suggestions of renaming, please let me know because the first meeting and possibly the only meeting we have is about 2 weeks, about a week and a half from now. So please email me right away if you have some ideas.
Yeah, and Leslie, Colette Carey, who's in that district, is not on this call tonight. I would like to connect you both about that, just as a matter of fact.
I got her on email. I'll email her after this.
That's perfect. Thank you, Les. Anything else?
Yes, I have a couple of parks and open space items.
Go for it. And then Amy and then Shane, I'm going to let you close it out.
All right.
One thing is just an update on our Adopt a Flower Bed program, that it was a joint effort between Greater Park Hill Parks and Open Space Committee, City Park Alliance, and City Park Friends and Neighbors. 50 volunteers pulling weeds and pruning roses and lilacs over in City Park all summer, and creating a lot of community and really, really good friendships, a lot of laughs. So we were just, a bunch of us were just over at City Park Golf Course before I broke for this meeting to talk about next year. There will definitely be a next year. So I think Georgia and I will be writing a season end report about our big successful program that we're so proud of, and kick it off for next spring. You'll be hearing about that. The other thing is that I talked to Phoebe, and I don't think Phoebe's on the call. I think she finally got dropped. But Phoebe is our new board member from District 6. And she is an enthusiastic vegetable garden along with her family. And we have just preliminarily discussed a new community garden in District 6. And a potential grant application to the Colorado Garden Foundation. That's about all I know from the conversation with Phoebe, but I was thinking, maybe we could pick Lana's brain a little bit talk about this and see who has some enthusiasm for a new community garden up in District 6. And I think it's a great way for Phoebe to kick off her tenure as a board member for Greater Park Hill District 6. So stay posted on that. I'm certainly willing to put some energy into it, and I bet there are other people who would like to do that as well.
Most definitely.
Yeah, you too, Shauna, your name came up in that brief conversation.
Yeah, I've talked to her about it too. She's just not sure, where it could be located and all that. So she's just, really looking for input and, like you said, trying to, see who might be even interested in it, So I think it would be great.
Other comments?
I just had one quick thing.
Okay.
And that is that I just wanted to acknowledge what happened on Tuesday night, because the passage of Initiative 301 has an enormous impact on our neighborhood, and an enormous positive impact, I believe, and this organization believes, because it backed the measure. And the reason I wanted to bring it up is just to acknowledge all the hard work that went into making sure that that initiative passed, making sure that we have the power and the people to make sure that we know what happens with that land. And now begins the real journey, because we know that we don't want that land to just sit around being an old golf course. Maybe there's a couple people out there who want it to be a golf course, but for the most part, the vision is that we'll turn that land into a true community resource. And there's a lot of ideas and a lot of possibilities. And because it's squarely in my district, I absolutely will continue to be engaged in that issue. And I'm sure many, many others will too. So I just wanted to make sure that it was acknowledged, because I thought it was a very powerful response from the members of our community and across Denver. And the possibilities for that land are really, really inspiring and really exciting. And now we have to fight to get it. So I'm not giving up. I'm going to keep on engaging. We're going to keep on trying to figure it out and dream real big. And it can be, imagine the community gardens that could go there, so there's so much more that can go there. And I'm just really, really happy and proud, very, very, very proud of my community.
And you should be. And Amy, I just want to follow that up, and I cannot say this enough, is that the vote was pretty overwhelming, and it actually supports and aligns with the statistics from the Greater Park Hill survey that we did from the National Resource Center, which is a validated survey. We spent a lot of money on that to get the community input, and it aligns with what the vote was on Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
That was it. It was just a big deal. It's like the biggest deal I've ever been a part of in my whole life, to be honest. So
you and your team.
Wow.
One of the messages that we take away from this is that it is possible to conduct a grassroots campaign against big developer money. It is still possible to do that in Denver. And the other thing is that I hope going forward that Greater Park Hill will have a big role in forming what the community wants and making it happen.
Shane,
All right.
Sir Chair, it used to be Madam Chair. I'm not sure what to call it now. It's just Chair. I would like to give you the floor and have at it. I am very proud to turn this over to this wonderful, kind, and terrific human being. So Shane, it's all yours.
Well, thank you, Tracy, and thank you for all the work you've done for the organization over the years. And I'm just going to say a few things. I'm going to be reaching out to some of you about some of our empty chairs in the next month or two, seeing if you have any interest in it. And if anyone on the call has an interest in a chair that's empty, we have zoning chair empty, we have community development chair empty, we have Parks and Rec empty. We also need to do there's other chairs that I'm just going off the top of my head. So if you have an interest, let me know. I'd be interested in this, but one thing I want to tell everyone on the board so they know this is that on the executive committee, I'm going to continue to have Tracy on the executive committee because I need her to lean against, at least in this first couple of years. So she will continue to be very involved even in the executive committee stuff committee that we do. I don't really have anything else except for I think we have a really strong board and a lot of potential here, and we can get a lot done. And I'm sure we will. And I look forward to working for everyone. And you can email me anytime. I'm always open to talk. I have time available to talk. I'm less busy than Tracy, so I should be there for you. That's all I have. And I think that's it for this meeting. And
I'm gonna add one quick note, and that is
Okay.
I'm gonna send you all the updated board roster after this meeting, now that everybody's like here and official. You'll be able
Okay.
to see the vacancies on the chairs. So take a scroll through that when I send it tomorrow. See if you might fit into one of those chair roles that Shane was talking about, and let him know if you're interested. And then for our new folks, I did request bios from each of you and photos for our website. So if you haven't sent that to me yet, if you can, please. For any of our returning folks, if you would like your bio and or your photo updated, you can also send that to me and I'll make sure it gets up on the website. That's all I've got.
All right, I think that's it. So Tracy, do you want to end us? I think you're running the meeting.
Up until you became the new chair, sir. So again, I'm not going anywhere. I love this organization. I love the people I get to continue to work with, even when we don't agree 100% eye to eye. It is always useful, wonderful conversation. And there's nothing greater than working with a group of committed people and being able to share this journey with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Tracy, for everything you've done over the years and will continue to do.
Thank you.
Yep, so glad we still get to work with you, Tracy.
Shanta,
Love you, darling.
Love you too. You're in good hands.
Yes, indeed, we are.
Arrive by Monday.
All right.
Tracy, I'll just remind you that you are now the host of the meeting, so you will have the power to end it, and I will not.
I don't want to end it. We will.
No,
so,
you don't have to. I'm just saying, whenever you're ready, it's all in your hands.
We'll get back with Chris's thing for things. So we're going to all meet together. We'll have a separate call, or maybe we can go have a beer at Chris's. No, we won't do that because it'll seem weird, but we'll get together team. So Shane, I'll follow up with you. Okay. Good night.
Good night.